All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to board meeting here at Cook School. Are they? Were we? Am I? Is there for the begin? I just want. Is there someone leading the pledge? I didn't want to. Oh, okay. All right, let's rise for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance
of the United States of America
and to the republic
which it stands,
one nation. Oh my God.
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice.
Oh.
All right, thank you to the Cook students for that wonderful lead in the pledge. Now go over to our roll call.
Yes. President Meyer.
Here.
Vice President Stewart.
Here.
Treasurer McIntyre will be late, but joining us shortly. Trustee Frazier.
Here.
Trustee Mabry.
Here.
Trustee Regan-Mauer.
Here.
And Secretary Campbell-Voitel. I am here.
Wonderful. Okay. That brings us to the adoption of our agenda.
All right. I will bring forth motion 104 that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Support. Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Vice President Stewart, supported by Trustee Maurer. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that brings us to our consent resolutions.
Okay, I'll bring forth motion 105 that the board accept the consent agenda items for approval as presented. That includes 5A, minutes of the April 21st, 2026 Board of Education meeting. 5B, minutes of the April 21st, 2026 closed session meeting of the Board of Education. 5C are overnight and out-of-state field trips, and that's 5C1, NHS Boys Volleyball State Semifinals in Battle Creek, Michigan from June 5th to the 6th, 2026. 5C2, NHS Spanish Students Peru trip from July 12th to the 20th, 2027. 5C3, NHS hockey team building trip to Glen Arbor, Michigan from July 27th through the 29th, 2026. 5C4, Meads Mill 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip from May 12th through the 14th, 2027. 5C5, Summer Kids Club trip to the Imagination Station in Toledo, Ohio on July 30th, 2026. 5D, Football Stadium home locker room upgrades awarded to Game 1, totaling $61,722. 5E, donation to Cook School totaling $16,507.42 on behalf of the PEACE committee from the Mitsubishi Electric American Foundation. And let's see, 5F, 2026-27 MHSAA membership resolution. And finally, 5G, bill warrants totaling $4,941,681.11.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion properly presented by Vice President Stewart, supported by Secretary Campbell-Voitel. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we move forward with those, and that brings us to our communications.
Yes. President Meyer, we have had this month 3 sources of communication. The first is via the board email at npsboe@northvilleschools.org. We've had communication from Wayne Resup, in which they presented us with the board highlights for April 2026. And the third source is the Northville Youth Network Program Report that we receive monthly, and this was the April 2026 program report.
Excellent, thank you. And that brings us to you, Dr. Weber.
Yes. Right now we have the yearbook presentation, and do we have a copy of the yearbook here with us tonight? All right, come on up, youngsters. So there's a microphone over there. And as I'm looking at the list of folks, just tell us a little bit of a story. The mic's over there. If you want to go grab it. You can also present books to some of the board members if you want them to kind of look at it. I've had the privilege of seeing one. It's amazing. And Evan over there is going to help you. And if you could share a little bit of the time and energy that it took to really capture a full year at the high school. Thank you.
Go first. Okay. What was the question? Sorry.
What was it like putting this thing together?
As a yearbook staff, it's a lot of work to be able to put the yearbook together. A lot of the prep starts in the summer. So our editorial board, which we are on, attends summer workshops over the summer. And there's even one at MSU, Michigan State University, where we pretty much designed what we want our pages to look like that you guys can see up on the screen. But yeah, a lot of work all year round. All right. My name is Ashlyn Swart.
My name is Case Merrick.
And I'm Zoe Skotanis, and together we are the members of Northville High School's 2026 Yearbook Editorial Board.
We began preparing for this year's book more than a year ago. We are so excited to have the privilege of creating a special book that would commemorate each class and represent all the students at NHS. When designing our 2026 theme, we chose to emphasize the nostalgia that we want to feel when looking back at this book for many years in the future.
For example, in our spring supplement, which is actually the small little packet that's in the yearbook, we included a collage of submitted photos featuring the seniors and their friends. But we also added a QR code in the book so they could see the all the photos taken from this year, even if they didn't make the final print of the yearbook.
Back in 26 is a book that's designed to be looked back on. We have an all-black cover and 2 orange lines along the bottom. It's our colors and our year. We designed each spread to showcase who our students really are right now. When we look back on this book years down the road, we want to remember what our lives were really like back in 26.
Our amazing staff photographed special moments that we knew students would want to remember. But we also wanted to go deeper, which is why we asked students what they wanted to remember in 20 years. We gathered these student memories and integrated them into our photo bars that you can see on the sides of every page. Beyond the creative design, the book also represents a massive project management success. This year's staff met every single deadline, which is an impressive feat in yearbook. We would like to thank our principal, Mr. Koski, our superintendent, Dr. Weber, and our Board of Education for supporting the 2026 staff. The board has once again graciously offered to donate their copies to graduating seniors experiencing financial difficulty. Thank you for your generosity and support.
And today we brought 2 copies of the yearbook for you guys all to enjoy. And we hope you can enjoy this celebration of the Northville High School as we depicted it for you. And with that, we leave you with the opportunity to see what this staff worked so hard to create. So thank you guys.
Hey. So, hey, before you guys leave, this is a really interesting kind of May as I think about it, because as I look at the 3 of you and I look at the names on the list, I remember August of 2022 when you guys were dancing into the high school for freshman orientation. Some of you were dancing. I tried to. I don't know how to dance. I have no rhythm. And, you know, Kay, seeing you at so many different events, taking pictures and recording all of this stuff and capturing it is just, it's a thing of beauty. I'm a little struck, I think, this month, a lot of reflection with the seniors especially. Just, again, seeing you come in, your parents drop you off, some of your parents crying. Some of them were cheering. I'm kidding, they weren't. And it just is a beautiful thing to see what you are not only capable of, and we all know that, but sometimes people ask me, are you worried about the future, RJ? It's kind of a tough world right now. And I get to say to them, not a bit. The kids I get to hang with, you're so much better than I can at least speak for myself than I ever was. I'm not going to offend anyone in the room and say better than you all, but I think some of these kids are. And I'm really grateful for each of you, everyone on the yearbook, but also it's just really wonderful to see you standing here proud of your work. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, proud Ammerman principal, come on down. Oh. Wait, we have a bonus person here. Oh, so good to see you again. So we're going to have a presentation here on the stock market game. And if you guys hang around long enough, these kids will give you some tips. Play them. They know what they're doing. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Weber. Hi, I'm Devin Cuddle, principal at Ammerman, and I am excited. I believe this is the 4th year in a row that I have been able to announce that Ammerman is again winner of the stock market games. We have a second place team this year consisting of Cameron, Hayden, and Charlie. This year, our stock market games has been led by our teacher, Mr. Gall. This is something that is done completely outside of school hours. It is done via Zoom after school. There is a lot of, there has to be a lot of kid pushing it. They have to push themselves. There has to be a lot of interest because you are given $100,000 of free money, of play money, and said, make the most you can, right? And gentlemen, how much did you end up with? Do you remember?
Well, it's that's 100,000, but the market has been terrible.
Yes.
So to get anything above 100,000
Yes.
was a moral victory.
Yeah. So we are very excited about this year's team. So congratulations. We are so proud of you.
I'll give you ones on cards in your office.
Hayden and Mr. Cameron. All right. Do you have any questions for our
Let's see.
stock market geniuses?
If the board has any questions for you all.
I feel like the question we ask every year is, what are your tips? What's your hot tip?
Yeah. So what are we playing this year?
you
What
wanna
is
talk
what
about
are we
what you
buying?
picked?
What are we selling?
Yeah. Well, the one that I picked that I think we were the most successful in was Marvel Technologies. I looked up what were some good ones, and I thought that would be a good one to test out. So about 100 shares of it.
And they're not
Okay.
comic books, right?
Yeah, no. They're the technology company that
That's right.
makes chips. So
Before Cayman got that, I wanted to do Netflix, which got us a bit of money before Cayman got that, so we could get the 100 shares.
I didn't really do anything.
Netflix and Marvel Technologies.
Keith, thank you for doing this and really getting kids interested in this piece. As we know, and you as a really smart guy and knowing your maths, compound interest is also an amazing thing. And the earlier we can invest and the earlier we can go down that road, you can really, in my mind, money is just freedom and the ability to have the freedom to live the life you deserve and make choices. So the fact that you're doing this in grade 5 is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So thank you very much.
And I also want to point out too that this thing that Mr. Gall does is something that he does out of the goodness of his heart. It is not a paid position. It is not something that he is a club. He just does it because he likes it. So we are appreciative of it, and that is, I guess, what sets Northville teachers a little bit above. So thank you, Mr. Gall. I appreciate you.
Yay. All right, and next we have our Northville Academics Games National Tournament recognition. How are you tonight?
Hello.
How
Yes,
are
I'm
ya?
good. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you for putting all that list. So my name is Simona Marinchan, and I am currently serving as the president of Northville Academic Games team, and I'm here to talk a little bit about the work that all these kids in red t-shirts put throughout the year. We are an organization of 80 students currently, from third grade all the way to seniors. It's entirely run by parents. We meet outside of the normal school hours, and twice a week in September, these kids met and learn how to play games of math, history, language, even theme, which this year was Norse mythology. And if not, they should be congratulated for being able to pronounce those names and recognize them, because it was hard work. Every one Saturday a month, they travel to schools in Detroit, Ann Arbor, Jackson to compete against teams from those schools. And for 2 weeks in March, we went to the state tournament. 1 week, the third and fifth graders and fifth and sixth, and the second week, middle and high school. We won several awards there. I will not mention all of them. I just want to point out that we were able to qualify 2 teams from elementary division, fifth and sixth graders, 3 from middle, 7 and 8, and 2 from high school. And we traveled to Charlotte at the end of April, where we competed against teams from states like Florida, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. And we came home with all of those awards. So what I want to point out is that we got first places, second places, third places, individual games, and overall. We had students that qualified second in the nation overall, which is among 500 students. And we had a wonderful time, very stressful for all of us, but we came home very happy with all the results. And this could not have been possible without all the parents that are proudly behind. None of us is a teacher per training. I teach at a higher level, but not elementary. We all got in as parents, but more importantly, we wouldn't have had, I dare say, a minor team this year without our high schoolers. So our high schoolers not only compete, but they volunteer to coach. And I will name a few of them simply because they took leadership positions in those. Gabriela Calderon and Pradyuma Jamadagni for minor team, Anvesh Pocharedi and Vashtai Kandran for elementary, and Annalise Prescott for the middle team. They all contributed with the adults, and their parents were there because they are minors and we wanted to have them in the team. And with that, I would also like to thank all the schools, because we are training in classrooms that are made available to us. We are hosting tournaments in Northville High School several times a year. And we are very grateful for that. And we are grateful for the recognition that we get tonight. And I want to thank all my parents and all the students, and we hope to be here next year with similar results. We have been doing this since 2013, so we keep going.
Lovely.
Wow.
Thank you. Well, and what I'd like to say to the parents and the students in this space, and I try to say it as often as possible, so maybe you know what's coming, but really the success of Northville Public Schools is completely, in my mind, incumbent upon parents like you and students like you who put forth the extra effort and really get after it. For parents, as was mentioned, you might not be teachers, but you threw yourself into there because you love your kids and want to see them get after something that they really, truly enjoy. it's not lost on myself, and I know any of the people to my right or any of the folks I have the privilege with in serving at the table right here in front of me, that we work really hard for you and beside you because of the potential and what you do as well and what you bring to this community. So I want to say thank you very much for that. And I think what I'd like to do is if there aren't any board, perhaps we have all the children come and stand behind the board members and get a picture of you guys.
Well, I would like to acknowledge the effort of the seniors, the senior competitors up at the high school level, in working with the younger ones. And so, as awesome and impressive as the adult leaders and nurturers you'd say we're not teachers, but you are teachers. I don't think that it would be quite as successful without the investment and the commitment and the caring that comes from the high schoolers who are also working with those young developing thinkers. And so, I just salute you for seeing and capitalizing on that unique opportunity to hand back what you've gained in your time as competitors. And bravo for that. And it makes us all stronger. And we're so proud of you. Thank you.
And if parent, popping this mic hard tonight, Eugene. I gotta mellow out. Also, if parents want to come up with the kids, that'd be great. But just come right behind us right now, please. Thank you. Come on up. Parents, you're welcome to if you don't.
You guys, we can fill in. Yeah, come closer. Come on closer. Come closer. Fill in the spots all the way up.
Let me see if you guys are all the way back there. So come up here, guys.
So you can get your
You want to come on up? We'll do a picture there. You can bring your parents.
I do apologize for a minute, but kids, you can leave. Okay.
Yeah, they are. You can see them.
Stock market.
Thank you.
And if Keith and Devin are here, it'd be great. All right. Come on up. Glad we caught you, Keith. I need a stock tip. Oh, President Meyer, I believe we are going to above and beyond the call of duty. And tonight we have some just fantastic folks here from Cook and Ridgewood. And I know the board gets together and kind of parses out who they're going to honor. So thank you so much for doing this for our staff. I think it's a absolutely wonderful, wonderful thing to do. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I will get us kicked off. I apologize if I mispronounce your name, but I am going to be giving the first award to Grace Litigat, who is a paraeducator here at Cook. Sounds like Grace has some big fans. A parent wrote in and said that Grace has been a familiar face for 3 years for our family. Every day, Grace is smiling and being positive, and that radiates to our daughter. When she sees Grace walking towards her in the morning, there is no one else around but her. Seeing our daughter light up when she sees Grace means that she is a loving person who our daughter trusts, enjoys, and loves being around. Thank you, Grace, for going above and beyond all the time. So thank you very much. I'm guessing you're here, yes? Any reaction?
And if we could stand on the tape block right there. Here we go. Thank you so much. Yay.
Okay, I have the honor of giving the ABCD Award to Caitlin Kowalski.
All right.
If Caitlin is here today, would you stand up? Hello. You had a colleague nominate you, and your colleague says, Caitlin impresses us daily with her patience, strength at mediation, kindness, and saying yes to helping anyone who asks. She builds empathy to the greatest degree in both staff and students and is always the biggest advocate for what's best for each individual. Her students love her obsessively, and her staff is consistently building personal and professional growth. She's probably the most emotionally mature person I know, and at such a young age. Thanks for everything you do. Alan, exclamation point. We love you to the moon. All right, come on up.
It's my pleasure to present this. It's my pleasure to present this next award to Don Zajac. Don is a paraeducator here at Cook. Don was not nominated by a colleague, and the colleague wrote in to say, Dawn has jumped in on numerous occasions without hesitation when one of her students is in medical need at Cook. She's such an amazing and sweet person that I believe doesn't know the word no. She's so hardworking and takes on any task asked of her, even if it's outside of her role for the day. Dawn is willing to learn and fix her mistakes, or willing to take the time to perfect something so it is perfect for our students moving forward. Congratulations, Dawn.
Okay, I think I'm next. I have the pleasure of presenting the ABCD Award to Lauren Gershman. Is Lauren here tonight? All right, Lauren, you've been nominated by a colleague, and she says, Lauren is the behavior specialist at Cook School. Since starting in her role, she has put many positive supports in place to help her student population, including a behavior walkie call system, weekly behavior newsletter for our DD classrooms, and provided new visual supports and curriculum materials. She is an incredibly knowledgeable resource for staff in regards to behavior intervention plans and crisis response. She created the RISE Room, the resource room for independence, self-regulation, and emotional skills. I definitely want to check that out. That allows for students to take planned and unexpected breaks and have an alternative place to complete work. Lauren has created strong and positive relationships with students and families. She goes above and beyond the call of duty every single day. Her passion and understanding of behavior, as well as her dedication to the students at Cook, has resulted in a better place, a better school climate and culture for our most impacted and misunderstood student population.
Oh, we have OVS.
Okay, I'm up next, and I believe I'm up next. Yes, okay. And I have Kate Holmes, an early childhood teacher. Is Kate here with us? No? Okay. So Kate actually had 2 submissions made on her behalf. And the first is from a parent who writes, Mrs. Holmes has been with our son for 2 years now and goes above and beyond to make her students feel valued and appreciated. She recognizes all their unique attributes and welcomes them into her classroom. The overall positive culture within her room has been noticed and appreciated. She is exceptional at finding humor to add joy to the day of those around her. While she is collaborative about problem solving, she takes time and effort to recognize student strengths so that it is clear she cares about the whole child and reminds them they are an important member of her class. And the second submission says, we have been lucky enough to have Mrs. Holmes and Miss Mary in our lives for 4 and 5 years respectively. They have gotten to know each of our kids as individuals, always remembering what's important to our 3 or 4-year-olds. Mrs. Holmes and Miss Mary foster meaningful friendships in their classrooms and are always there to coach through conflicts. Our kids are still friends with their preschool besties. They are also great communicators. An example is emailing me after a tough drop-off to let me know that everything is okay, often with a picture for extra reassurance. Mrs. Holmes and Miss Mary taught our kids so much about emotions and emotional regulation and worked on strategies to support each of them. Their investments in our kids' well-being has made for such a wonderful preschool experience. So congratulations, Kate.
Okay, I'm lucky enough to go next, and I get to give this award to Mrs. Kristen Dode. I don't think she's here tonight. Okay, maybe she's watching from home, but I know it's a big year for her. A student made the submission on her behalf, and the student says, currently I'm in 8th grade, but Mrs. Dode is still an amazing role model in my life. She has had such a positive impact on me, and you can tell she cares deeply for all of her students. I love seeing her when I visit Ridgewood, and she is always asking my mom how I'm doing, even when I haven't seen her. She was such an incredible teacher when I had her, and she still is now. The student says, I really hope my younger brother can have her next year because a year with Miss Dode is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So, Miss Terry, I hope that you're paying attention. I don't know who submitted, but it sounds like the student is requesting Mrs. Dode for his brother. She is so strong. And I know you don't take parent requests, but maybe sibling requests, maybe that is a new thing. She is so strong, and I always look up to her. And I want to underscore that multiple times that 2 of my kids were so lucky to have Mrs. Dode, and she holds such a special place in our heart. So glad to be able to celebrate you tonight, Mrs. Dode, and hope to see you soon. Congratulations.
It's my pleasure to finish out this wonderful group of excellent leaders in our district with the nomination for Lauren Clark. Is Lauren here? Not here tonight, okay. This ABCD award was made by a parent and their student who had the following to say. It is a great honor to nominate Mrs. Clark for this award. As a parent, I have been deeply moved by the profound impact that she has had on my child's growth and overall school experience. She possesses a remarkable gift for recognizing the unique potential hidden within every student. That is magical, isn't it? Rather than following a one-size-fits-all approach, this dedicated educator takes the time to truly understand each child's individual strengths and hidden talents. Under her guidance, my child has discovered a newfound confidence and capabilities we didn't even realize were there. What truly sets her apart, though, is an unwavering commitment to fostering leadership in her students. By providing personalized support tailored to each student's needs, she ensures that they have the tools to step up as confident leaders. This is in the 5th grade. This constant encouragement has been a true turning point, allowing my child to embrace leadership roles with enthusiasm. Because of her positive energy and genuine belief in her students, my child now looks forward to school every single day. She has inspired my child to become an active, engaged, and responsible member of the entire school community. We are incredibly grateful for a teacher who doesn't just instruct, but truly empowers and even impacts the next generation of teachers. So this is a wonderful recommendation and nomination for you, Lauren Clark, and we salute you with the ABCD Award.
Triple yay. And if we, it's so nice to look out and see so many good people here tonight in so many ways. Thank you. Staff appreciation in Northville is pretty something else. And we look at our parent groups and our PTSA groups, and you see how nice they make the teachers' lounges and the love that they so openly share, and so gracious with a spirit of generosity in what they give and how they give, not only of resource but of their hearts truly. And Mr. Sumner and I yesterday had an exit interview with one of a small number of teachers that are retiring, and she has been here for 33 years. And it was really neat for the three of us just to reflect on what her career has been. She started in Silver Springs, went to another school, and my heart is filled when I think of the people who tirelessly care about our kids and about that future. And I think of the kids that were standing at that podium before, and I think of a teacher in the elementaries. We have 4 of our elementary principals here tonight, thinking about what you do to get them ready for that moment. And it's pretty nuts when you see how did they go from your little dragon or bobcat or rocket rider, or penguin, and emerge into full-throated Mustangs or Cardinals. And it's a great feeling. So much love to each of our staff members, and very grateful for you. And with that said, I'm going to pass this over to Miss Rebecca Peck right now for a preliminary enrollment update. Thank you.
Sorry.
No.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. One of these years I'll get this straight. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick enrollment update. Now's the time we're starting to do this. You're going to start seeing this at all of our times when we come together, so you're kind of aware where we're at in the process. The chart that is in front of you looks a little scary. That number is looking at how many students we have as compared to last year at count. So last year at fall count, after we went through the whole enrollment process, this is kind of where we're at. We are down 268 students overall, but understanding we're still deeply in the enrollment process. There are some watch points that I do have some concerns about, and that is in our elementary. we're about, across the board, we're about 30% down from where we would be last year at this time. From kind of that leveling out enrollment, and I looked at 2 years of data. So Devin and I are watching that. Sometimes enrollment it's an art, not a science. We look at all sorts of data points to try to determine what we think our enrollment is going to be, but it really, we know when we know as the enrollments come in. We still have quite a long time in the enrollment season, and we have houses turning over. So we do anticipate having new students enrolling. Our Young Fives is up from last year. It's the highest number that we have so far. We are at capacity in 4 classrooms, and considering adding another one, we are adding another one. We just have to get to the place where we decide where we want to place that in which program. Our kindergarten numbers are real low. That I didn't expect the kindergarten numbers to be as low as they are right now. So fingers crossed that we'll be seeing lots of new folks moving into their beautiful new homes with their darling kindergartners. Our high school, on the bright side, is a little bit higher than we normally see. In the high school enrollment, we don't often see that bump until we get certainly in August and then sometimes even September. So the high school will go up, and then it will go down, and then it will go back up again. It's just the nature of that high school secondary world. We do have I have some preliminary thoughts on sections. We're okay. Brian and I are working closely together with our staff. We are hiring teachers. We'll see at our next big meeting together. We do have some retirements that are coming up. But we are obviously managing our section sizes based on the need that we have. As I had mentioned to you, our Young Fives is bursting, so we'll be adding a section there. Our ALPS classrooms, which I so appreciate the Office of Instruction for streamlining some of those processes, so I can let you know a little bit sooner. We have 3 sections of 3rd grade ALPS coming in. Last year there were 4. We had a big cohort come in last year. We have 3 sections. Do not anticipate increasing that because the enrollment process, that enrollment period has closed. If we do have spots available for folks that are moving in, we will obviously test and place into ALPS where space is available. We currently have 4 4th grade, 3rd grade classrooms. That's going to transfer up to 4 4th grade ALPS classrooms. We currently have 3 4th grade ALPS classrooms. We are moving that to 4 5th grade ALPS classrooms. We had a couple of people move in, and we've had some transitions there as well. So ALPS is looking like 3, 4, and 4. And that is my enrollment update. There will be more next time.
Any questions or wonderings for Ms. Peck?
I mean, it's really exciting that there's going to be another Young Fives, right? That's great news, I
Yes.
think, for all of us. So
Do we expect to distribute the ALPS classes any differently than the way they are distributed now, meaning 3rd grade at Silver Springs and 4, 5, 4th and 5th will be?
Yes, we have space at Ammerman to house 8 ALPS classrooms.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Good question.
Thank you for that very early prediction, so to speak. I know you look at that on a very regular basis, Ms. Peck. And I think, Devin, after the Cook presentation, I'm going to give you a little time to warm up a little bit. But you and I have a call at 10 o'clock tomorrow that maybe we just let the folks know about kind of the machinations behind what is finance. So you'll have time to explain what that is. I'm not going to put you on the spot right now. Instead, I get to flip over to Cook. And Jen and Aaron, I'll tell you, this was the first year I got to attend the musical, all the kids. I will never, ever miss it again. That was genuinely amazing. And I did send one of the videos to the board, just like, you got to see this. And what I got back was, thanks for making me cry at dinner, I think, from one board member. It just, as we know and say often, this is a special place because the people who choose to serve here are truly special. It's not hyperbole. I have the privilege of being in this building and seeing the love and care you provide to kids and families who never asked to be in a situation they might be in. And of course, I'm going to say I'm also proud of the state of Michigan. We're the only state in the union that will serve our children until that age of 26, I believe. And Jen, feel free to correct me. But thank you so much for having us here tonight. And I can't wait to see what you're bringing us. Thank you.
Of course. Welcome, board and Northville community members, as well as Northville staff. We are super glad you're here. I'd like you to raise your hand if you've ever had a special gift that someone who knew you very well bought for you. Tonight, we're going to talk about a special gift of education, which is picked and selected for each of our students. It's individualized, specialized instruction. At Cook, the students get personalized support and have unlimited potential. While Cook is part of the Northville Public Schools, our students come from 9 different districts. And our students are as young as 2.5 and go all the way to 26. Dr. Weber, you are correct. Each day, roughly 30 transportation vehicles arrive at our buildings or at our satellites, bringing our students for their various needs. And they head to 3 specific programs. So the first one that is listed there is our students that are programs for students that are dually diagnosed. And those students have a cognitive impairment and an emotional impairment. So the students in that classroom have a maximum of 8 students in the group. They're arranged obviously by age. And you can see in your slide the different age groups that we have currently that are here for our dual diagnosed students. Those students have their Just Right education, which they're receiving, as well as their primary focus for being here is that they have a behavior plan and they need to focus on that behavior. As you heard, that we have someone that is really helping us support that in Lauren Gorshman tonight. So all of those students have a behavior plan. Our next program is for students that are severely multiply impaired. And that program actually is helping with enrollment. This year, as you know, we just added an additional classroom due to 12 of our littlest learners in the SXI program, or the severely multiply impaired program. So those students have a cognitive impairment as well as medical needs and services that they require here at school, as well as physical needs and limitations that they are getting their services here. Again, the students are arranged in classrooms by age, and we can have up to 9 students in those classrooms. They are working on their preschool, their Just Right academic K-12 and or post-secondary curriculum, as well as their other needs. Finally, our third program is for students that are severely cognitively impaired. Those students are more typically ambulatory than in our SXI program, but they also require augmentative alternative communication. Again, they're along with that Just Right education. So we can have up to 12 students in that classroom, and actually we can go up to 15, but we try to keep it no larger than 12 if we can help it. Our largest program, as you can see, is our SXI program and our multiply impaired program. We also have a post-secondary sort of heaviness, so it's our largest student population. But we do have representation in all ages, and so we teach what everyone else is teaching in Michigan. But as you will see, it is very specialized. Next, to tell you a little bit more about Common Core and the essential elements is Lauren Gershman, our behavior specialist.
Thank you.
So our students at Cook have access to the same grade level content and curriculum as their typical peers do. This is possible using a pared down simplified version or the most essential element of whatever the Common Core standard is. So the essential elements are provided by Wayne County RESA to our unique population and others like ours. There is a core standard for all subject areas at every grade level. So for example, you can see up there on the left-hand side is a 8th grade reading informational text Common Core standard. You can see how long and detailed that is, and it might be very overwhelming for our students here at Cook to access that without modification. So instead, on the right-hand side, you'll see the essential element, which is really just that Common Core standard pared down to the most essential part of it, which takes that very complicated Common Core standard to simply identifying the main idea or theme of a text. So our students are getting the exact same curriculum as everyone else their age. And each essential element has the potential to be modified even further based on the individual student needs. On that top photo, there's 4 levels of modification for our students. Below that are 5 different levels of prompts and supports for students. This allows them to not only access the essential element at their individual level, but with that prompting level, we can actually see growth over time in their independence. And these codes in both of those images are the same language that our families see on their report cards. So it makes it very clear in understanding their students' progress. So we're going to show you a little more about what those levels look like. It begins at level 1, extensive modification of a concept or skill. It goes all the way up to level 4. Cook typically services students that would be at a level 1, 2, or 3. We're going to start with level 1, and my colleague Stephanie Crane, the SCI teacher and department chair, will tell you about level 1.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. In level 1, we are making discoveries about our kids. And our first place as teachers, I think, is to be investigators. We have we have students in level 1 that are in my preschool class. We have students in level 1 that are in 8th grade. They're in post-secondary. So level 1 doesn't necessarily mean young. It just means that they're at a level that needs a certain amount of support, extensive support, and maybe limited amount of choices to give them. So level 1 here, you can see a couple different students demonstrating assessments in level 1. This would be going along with the essential element that my colleague Lauren just presented about choosing the main object or the main theme in a story. For example, we might read a story like Chicka Chicka Boom Boom in our class and discover what is the main object or the main subject, sometimes the main character in a book or the main topic. In this book, we would pair closely the book cover with an object, either 2 objects or 2 pictures in level 1 that one closely resembles the topic of the book, as you can see, and one doesn't at all. So sometimes the students just pick at first what they like, but over time, we can learn to recognize likeness and differences, and that we're asking them to choose which one they, what kind of information they received from the book. For example, we would pick the Chicka Chicka Boom Boom tree instead of Pete the cat. Although we might really like Pete the cat, the correct answer would be Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. And the same with the object. So going back to the investigators thing, at our school, it's our job as teachers to discover how our students are receiving information and how they can communicate, which is all different kinds of ways, as you saw in the Pledge of Allegiance. Some are communicating with switches, are better with pictures, some just with eye gaze. Some students can reach out and grab an object. Others could point to a picture and isolate a finger, or even point to a small button on a high technology device, just like an iPad or something like that. Some use their voices to communicate, all different methods, right? So we're deciding what level based on what level of complexity we think the kids would be challenging, but still workable, and still let them access the curriculum, and then also the method that they're being asked to communicate. So giving them a variety of ways to communicate, whether it's just looking at different positions, like the tree might be over here and Pete the cat might be over here. And we would ask the student to make a choice. If they're not able to use their hands or coordinate their hands and eyes yet, we might ask them just to look at their choice. And then to make it more difficult, we might switch them up. We would ask them repetitively during the week these questions and see how many they're getting correctly. But we're looking for an increase in either correct answers, or if they're not able to access that level of vocabulary and matching yet, we do give them credit for moving towards independence and stepping away from needing staff prompting or staff assistance to make their choices. So we give them credit for those ways as well. When they're ready to be challenged more, we move on to level 2. This is Katie Schneider. She's an SXI teacher and our department chair for the SXI department as well.
Hello. So for level 2, students are making choices from pictures or objects using 3 instead of just 2. Students can use their eye gaze, they can point, or they can answer verbally, just like was described for level 1. But the main focus here is really reducing that prompting level and increasing their independence, so they're able to move up to potentially level 3. In this picture, not that picture, that picture, you will see a student making a choice by pointing, answering a comprehension question from a text. To introduce level 3 is Ashley Mata, our DD teacher and department chair. Thank you.
For level 3, students are working on identifying the main idea of a narrative text and connecting those supporting details back to the main idea. So at this level, students are expected to demonstrate more independence and less reliance on visual supports. After listening to or reading a story, they'll be able to answer comprehension questions independently. This could be verbally, through sign, their communication device, whatever their mode of communication is. Students also complete written comprehension activities. They answer questions about a text by either looking at a multiple choice option and selecting that answer, or maybe they're going to write a keyword as their response to a question. These activities all help build their understanding of the key story elements while also strengthening their independent response skills, their listening comprehension skills, and their reading comprehension skills. In this picture, you can see a level 3 student working on an ELA worksheet. In this example, he had just listened to a story being read to him, and he is working through a multiple choice sheet that asks questions about the main idea and supporting details. And what the student does is he'll read the question aloud to himself, and then he'll read all the responses and he'll circle his best choice. So next up to tell us more about ancillary supports, we have Leah Gargaro, speech language pathologist and ancillary department chair, and Christy Rolema, physical therapist and ancillary department chair.
All right. All students use multiple modalities to communicate, the same as all of us. Speech therapists work with teachers and classroom staff to determine their most reliable response system to participate in instruction, assessment, and vocational activities. We collaborate with PTs, OTs, vision, and other disciplines to ensure students are positioned appropriately and access is optimal to use their communication devices. Pictured here on the left, a student accesses communication using an eye gaze device during morning meeting while in her stander. This student in the middle is using his iPad to ask me what I would like to order from the coffee cart, which is one of my favorite micro businesses at Cook. On the right, this picture shows a multiple message voice output device that is adapted with tactile icons for a student with a visual impairment. Students also access their education using picture cards, single message switches, and various other forms of high and low tech communication devices, as well as body language and facial expressions.
Occupational therapy provides a vital role, providing access to communication via mounting systems for switches and devices. Our OTs here at Cook also help students meet sensory needs so students are able to regulate themselves for learning to occur. The left picture below, or the left picture, shows a student using a fidget. The center picture shows a student wearing a compression vest, just to the left, same student. Both of these are examples of sensory tools. The picture all the way to the right is a boat that we use for compression, also for sensory. And the one just to the left with the switch, she's able to activate that with her cheek, or we can also do her, they can activate with their head as well. So occupational therapy also provides upper extremity positioning and splinting, making reaching activities easier and their ability to access their devices. Now we're heading to physical therapy. Physical therapy plays a role here at Cook to provide optimal positioning support to allow students to engage in learning. The pictures here show students in a supine stander to the left. Supine just means on your back. The one in the middle is a Grifton compass chair, and the stander on the right is called a meerkat. And that's considered a prone stander, and prone just means on your stomach. So she's forward facing on her stomach. Actually, just a little tip, this company to the right, they name all their equipment animals, like meerkat, Mustang, I mean, just really cool. So I thought that was kind of a neat marketing tool. So benefits of standards include improved range of motion, improved bone density, improved respiration, and improved digestion. We have all heard of the old adage that if we don't use it, we lose it. But this also applies not only to our muscles, but to our bones. Bones model according to the forces that are put on them. This is the reason why weight-bearing and resistance exercises are so important to prevent bone degeneration. Our population here at Cook is very susceptible to bone degeneration and progressive loss of range of motion, which can negatively impact their educational environment. So, just the lack of weight-bearing and the lack of range of motion really does affect them. So we select between prone, supine, or sit-to-stand standers based on head control, trunk control, and joint range of motion. We also look at accommodations for posture and behavior, and we try to select the best equipment for our students to optimize their posture, which allows them to optimally access their educational environment with switches and eye gaze devices.
We have a wonderful staff of nurses who provide necessary medical interventions during the school day, develop detailed healthcare plans, and provide frequent trainings for staff to keep students safe and healthy. Our staff is trained at least annually on seizure protocols, medication management, safe tube feedings, and basic first aid in order to provide the safest school environment for our unique population. Additionally, nursing keeps our school crisis team up to date on necessary training like CPR. Finally, our behavior support and social work team ensures that students are physically and emotionally ready to engage in learning by developing and implementing behavior plans, supporting students in crisis, and providing social and emotional learning strategies to staff and students. They ensure staff is up to date with current nonviolent crisis prevention intervention strategies. Students have access to various supports, including but not limited to first then boards, pictured here, to give students a visual of their schedule or reward. They also have token reinforcement systems so students can complete work tasks with a reward in mind. And they also have the ability to access the RISE room. RISE stands for Resource Room for Independence, Self-Regulation, and Emotional Skills. They can stop into the RISE room for a calming break, a quiet alternate workspace, a private place to speak to trusted staff, or to work on regulation strategies. I'm going to turn it over to our Assistant Supervisor, Erin Nadeau.
Thanks, guys. All right, so I bet you're wondering, how does this look at Cook? So we hover around 180 students. So when we're looking at the prevalence of instructional levels, the majority of our students, 73% of students at Cook are at that level 1 instructional level. Level 2 would be 21% of our students, and level 3 we're at 6% of students receiving that level of instruction. So hovering around 180 students, our colleagues are a team of about 130. So in addition to the amount of instructional modifications that the team here has described tonight, we have that many staff, that much power behind making sure education is accessible, meaningful, and relevant, and at grade level to what students deserve. So when we're maxing out at level 3, then we're really looking at what's the most restrictive environment, which is Cook. So if you're thinking about education programs on a continuum, we're kind of the last stop. So you think about other stops along the way, and we're looking backward then. If a student is exceeding level 3, then we need to look at a less restrictive educational placement for them, which Wayne County has set up. Being so large, there are a lot of stops on the way. Some districts that are really small have less stops available than super large districts that might have more continuum programs that we might share with. So as Jen talked about, we service 9 school districts, including Northville, that students are bused into, and we work cooperatively with all of those districts to look at programming every year at students' IEP. For the most part, students, their academic journey starts at Cook and usually stays at Cook. We have such specialized instruction that meets their needs where they're at. But in some cases, we're looking at referrals to a less restrictive placement. So, Jen.
Oh, thank you. So I get to close with a little bit more about our common assessment. So we've been provided with the packet of our common assessment so you can look at the things that we assess annually. And we have a common standard for our grade levels in ELA, math, and behavior. We're really looking at that as school-wide measurement, but then also we have individualized grade level report cards, as we mentioned earlier, as well as looking at the developmental trajectory that what our students are gaining, and that looking at independence as well as not just that correct answer. So there's a lot of data to look at before you get to correct answer. As our motto says, our students must learn first to communicate before they can demonstrate their learning and then to work. So our common assessment really looks at that small slice of learning, and it allows us to measure growth and celebrate it all along the way. Our common assessment pairs with, as I said, the power standards for essential elements in the report card, and we're guaranteeing that their progress is being made also with their IEPs, which we create with their teams and their families annually. So next year, we will be fully implementing our Teachtown curriculum, which our teachers were working to learn this year. We will be assessing not 2 times a year, but 3 times a year, which is following the county's recommendation. So we're looking at testing our students in October, January, and April, and we'll continue to collect data around our Carolina data with regard to our preschoolers. We'll be looking at the essential elements for K-12 and then also our post-secondary data. So all of this data, which you will get to look at and definitely celebrate, drives the interventions that our staff and our IEP teams will give. We're excited that next year, we will be joining the Northville MTSS initiative, revising it and making sure that we're aligned with not just best practice, but what the district is revising. So as we close our presentation, we're curious. Raise your hand if you learned something about specialized instruction today.
Like 10 hands to raise.
Thank you. I'm glad. Questions?
I have comments and questions. I really love this presentation. It was a wonderful way of explaining a bit of what happens here every day. So I really appreciate that. I was thinking about, there might be 12 to 15 children and then like any classroom, every kid is different, right? Their needs are all different. But there's the needs that you have just to go over a book like Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, the preparation that goes into that on a daily basis for all of your students, for each one meeting their needs. I commend you and thank you for that continual ongoing process. And I know from all your presentations that I know here, you're always trying to improve and learn more and, develop new things that meet the needs of your students. So I am curious about, if you could tell me a little bit about how the essential elements and the IEP team, how that works together on an individual. I know I'm asking like an individualized question about an individualized student, but if you could just make up, somebody in your head, I'm curious about what that looks like on a daily basis where you're working on those IEP goals with the
I'm going to pass this on to my team.
So we kind of think of it as the essential elements being kind of the common piece that every student would receive instruction on. Then when we get to the IEP, those IEP goals are specific to that student of what their biggest deficit areas are. And then what things do we need for that particular student in order for them to access the essential elements. So it kind of is all intertwined and kind of complicated, but the essential elements, everyone receives that instruction, and then the IEP just tells us how to do that to meet their needs, and then what other goals they need personally to be able to move forward as an independent student.
Thank you.
I did have a question for the team. For those that are working with Teach Town, I was wondering how you're finding it and where you're finding you need to modify it. Is that curriculum able to be adjusted to meet your needs?
Non-post answer.
Yes. I am enjoying it. I think we love the supplementary visuals that they have. We do have to modify it a little bit for our students. Sometimes we have to make things larger, simpler. We have gone back to some of our songs as opposed to some of their songs because of the visuals that accompany the songs. Visual stimulation and visual association, as we mentioned, is very important to our students. It's one of the ways that they absorb a lot of information, and music is also a really important and enjoyable part of their day too. So I have fallen back to some of our music, but the stories, the graphics are simple. They adapt it to different levels even. One of the adaptations we've made is to put some of the pictures that they've included or some of our core words that they don't include in the stories, or incorporated that into like their writing or their literacy work or something like that. So incorporating more core would probably be an appropriate adaptation. But the stories and I think the topics are very relevant. I have one of, the early childhood classroom. So it's very, very appropriate. I think it was very thoughtfully done. It comes with a ton of manipulatives too. And as you see, we teach with tools. We teach with lots of objects and pictures, and they know that. They provided so much good stuff. So, and very appropriate sized pieces too. We don't like to work with little tiny or breakable things. So it was very thoughtfully done. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thank you. And I do want to thank you for your incredible work. I know some of you personally, and I know that not only do you love your job, but you love your students. And it always just really impresses me. So thank you.
Our pleasure.
And before I offer some closing comments, our first year Executive Director of Student Services, JD, I'm wondering if you have anything you'd like to say. There's a mic. Evan's coming. No, Evan's got you. We need those millions viewing at home to make sure they pick up the dulcet tones of Miss Keefe.
All right. So
Or 12.
first and foremost, every time I'm here, I learn something new. And I see the incredible devotion of our staff. I see them doing amazing things every day. I see them weathering some tough storms and some heartbreaking moments. And I see them bonding together over those. And I don't think, unless you were here regularly, you would really get that picture. Their presentation says a lot about their talent and their dedication and the things that they do for their students, but it does not paint the full picture of their day in, day out life here. And some days are easier than others. And some days you go home and you're wiped out, right? But yet they come back every single day because of their commitment to all. And that's so admirable, so honorable, and so absolutely necessary, is that all means all, and that we do whatever we have to do to make sure that our students have access and exposure and meaningful learning experiences. You guys do a lot of fun things here too. They turn those learning things into fun moments. I've seen kids dancing here in the cafeteria, and working through everything from preschool, learning those foundational things to jobs around the school, running their school store, their coffee cart. Like there are just, I can't even begin to tell you the number of incredible things that are happening here that are way beyond the curriculum, that are way beyond just their data and their statistics that they're sharing with you today. So I just want to make sure you walk away knowing that this is a snapshot, but we just have an amazing, amazing team of professionals here.
Well done, JD, considering I didn't give you the heads up I gave Devin. So Devin's better be 3 times better than that. Kidding, Mr. Kling. So JD, you hit something that I think is really important. I'm going to look at you all. But before I do that, like, you guys have the best. Oh, the camera's not on. Brian, can you hold that in front of the camera? Your t-shirts are always amazing, and every year they tend to get better. It's right in front of you. Thank you, Mr. Sumner. So let's just give the viewers at home a little look in there. It's a good thing. Thank you. That's good. But I want to say, JD, you said it perfectly. So as we look at the cow, we went over the work of, 31 people for a full day on our strategic plan, as well as 222 stakeholders that put into it. And JD said something about that commitment to all, which is really the anchor piece of our value statement, not our belief statement, but our value statement and who we are. And then when you take a look at that strategic plan, what I'd encourage the board to do is to take a look at what was included in the packet that Ms. Irving supplied each of you, and what is, I believe, available to those viewing at home or will be. They can take a look at it. If you want to take a look, when we put aspirational goals out there, and if you're wondering out there, do these goals, are they measurable? Well, here at Cook, where we serve students from the segments that you just described, is a perfect exemplar of the work that Ms. Polanski and her team at all across the district are engaging in around assessment and the work we do. I think oftentimes people can look at Cook and say, oh, it's great. You guys do such wonderful work for these kids. Sure. But I actually think people are missing a lot. And it's in the packet. And it makes me burst with joy to see Miss Bugar nodding, because she knows where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about. So take a look at the supporting documentation. See that behind the big goals that we have, there are incredibly measurable goals that we go after. In a school where measurement can be difficult, you don't shirk it, you go after it. I'm so grateful for that. Those performance-based metrics, are we really serving the kids well? They're all right there. Raise your hand if you're my PT, OT people again. Thank you. So one of the things I learned 4 years ago here was after COVID and the reentry of the students that the two of you and so many serve from a PT standpoint. This was one of my biggest learnings, Jen, 4 years ago. So if you were to come to Cook in the morning, students get off their transportation, their buses, their vans, whatnot. Every room, invariably, there's some kind of physical manipulation or adjustment occurring in each of the classrooms. Varying degrees, kids need varying degrees. But after COVID, sadly, the amount of PT and OT that had to go into bringing these children back to a state of very basic mobility because their parents didn't have the training or access to lovely, incredible people like you. So it may seem simple, but it's about moving a wrist or an ankle or getting a kid to stand with assistance that is a huge victory. So if you put that whole amalgam in, performance-based assessment, tying to a large goal, love, a lot of patience. And I think, JD, when you said sometimes they go home tired, I'm guessing it's 5 of 5 nights that they probably do. And but I just want to say sincerely, the perfect example of honoring our commitment to all is exemplified here. Also, our laser-like focus on using performance metrics to gauge how we're doing, how we make adjustments, and so on, with the additional aspect of providing physical care that the homes that our children come from don't have access to. So thank each of you very, very much, and I hope you have a great night. Thank you. And before I exit the superintendent segment, Mr. Kling, what do we have at 10 o'clock tomorrow before we get to some public comment and Mr. Sumner's favorite thing, which is hiring people, which I love. So what do we got at 10 o'clock tomorrow?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you so much for the heads up.
Oh, you're welcome. I want to, JD doesn't need it, but I know you do. It's so.
I'll take anything I can get.
I know you will.
For preparation purposes. So we're selling bonds in the beginning of June. And so when you do that, rating agencies like to have a call with you. We're calling with S&P, and they're going to ask a number of questions. We actually received the questions today.
I have reviewed them.
Or yesterday, I'm sorry, received them yesterday, and normally they give you a couple weeks to kind of prepare, but we have a day, so that's fun. But we should be in good shape. But normally it's just kind of going over the basic things. There's debt and liability questions, economy questions, finance questions, management questions, stuff like that. So it'll be about an hour.
And for those of you at home, S&P stands for what?
Standard & Poor's.
Oh,
It's a
Standard
rating.
& Poor's.
Yep.
Yes, one of the.
So, yeah, it'll be about an hour. It'll be an hour and a half if RJ answers all the questions. But
you don't want
luckily
me
for
that
me,
one section. You don't want me touching that one section. Don't worry, I won't. And you have a mute button on your thing, so you can always mute me.
Yep.
But it's one of those things behind the scenes that Devin does and his team does. But when we're selling the bonds that the community so generously voted for in the bond sale, what makes those bonds attractive to investors are calls from organizations like Standard & Poor's, and they're going to ask us a whole host of questions on our debt, on other things. But our goal really for Devin and I tomorrow is to have a fantastic bond call with Standard & Poor's so their confidence is very high and can be rated very highly. So when those bonds go out for sale, they sell well. And this is something a lot of people don't see or maybe not know about, but the bond in 23, when you do a bond, you sell them in series, and this is one of those series. So Mr. Kling, thank you and your team in finance for getting us prepared, and promise I'll have read all the questions and promise I'll stay away from the ones that I should not answer. Deal.
Absolutely.
All right. I think we have public comment now.
All right, well, looking forward to hearing about that call. Before we go to public comment, I would just like to quickly turn it over to the board if there was anyone else that wanted to make comments or had, about the Cook presentation.
Well, as we went through our consent agenda, there was something in there about a donation to Cook. And I just wanted to touch on that really quickly since we went through that consent agenda so quickly that, and I just flipped right past it. So the Peace Committee with Mitsubishi Electric Automotive America. So Cook, you're going to be receiving $16,000, or maybe you already have just over $16,000. And in the letter, it said, have fun. And hopefully these funds can support some little extras for everyone. And I think, hearing about, obviously we know how much goes into every single student, every single classroom. Obviously, $16,000 isn't a huge amount when you think of every single 180 plus students here, but I'm excited for you all to get that. And I hope you have something fun that you're gonna spend that on. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right, thanks for lifting that up.
Can I say something?
Sure.
So as Melissa was just mentioning, the $16,000, when I came here last year with Dr. Weber and Miss Mabry to do our tour, one of the things that I learned is that some of those supine standards are like $10,000, and they have to grow with the kids. So when the kids outgrow those, they need more. And the next size, and think of it like a shoe, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So $16,000 sounds fantastic, but think about that in context of one supine standard for one child in the building. So, and we heard a lot about standards tonight and, state standards, and having been a teacher, I can look at those and be like, yeah, we've all seen those, done those. But I hope, especially for the people watching or listening at home, that you realize that there's so much more that goes into educating our kids than just what a standard is. And it's never the same across the board for anybody. And this building in particular and these educators are such a wonderful example of what the phrase "it takes a village" really means, because that's what happens here. And I'll get off my soapbox in just a second, but Dr. Weber mentioned a little bit about Teacher Appreciation Week and all the wonderful things. If you follow the school district on Facebook or social media, you saw the coffee carts and the things that the PTAs and PTOs and PTSAs put on. Also a reminder that that doesn't happen in a lot of other places. My cousin is a teacher in a different district. I saw her right before Teacher Appreciation Week, and I said, "Hey, what do you guys have going on? What's going on for you guys?" She said, what are you talking about? We don't do anything. We don't have a PTA. Nobody brings us anything." So we love to celebrate all of our wonderful staff and educators here, and it's just a nice reminder that it doesn't happen everywhere as well. So thank you again to all of our teachers, all of our staff. Principals Week, I think, was the week before that as well. So just a shout out to everybody in our community to thank our teachers. I'm done.
Okay. All right. Well, that will bring us to public comment. Are there any cards? Okay. So we will have another opportunity for public comment later on, but that moves us on to, I think, one of everybody's favorite things, which is new teacher hires.
I would like to bring forth motion 106, that the board award probationary NEA teacher and ancillary contracts for the 2026-27 school year to the following staff as presented. Keegan Oldani, NHS mathematics teacher. Christine Mashevsky, HMS counselor. Maya Dikut, elementary classroom teacher. Rebecca Frey, elementary classroom teacher. Emma Merchant, elementary classroom teacher. And Susanna Sumanplow, elementary classroom teacher.
Support.
Okay, so we have a motion properly presented by Trustee Frazier, supported by Vice President Stewart. Turn it over to you, Mr. Sumner, if you could.
Indeed. Thanks so much,
Some
President
details.
Meyer. Yes, exciting times. 26-27 hiring season is upon us. And we're excited to share a little bit about each of our 6 new recommended hires this evening. These all come to us as a result of either retirements, resignations, or assessment related to elementary enrollment, elementary sections, as Ms. Peck was sharing earlier in this evening's meeting. So first of all, NHS mathematics teacher Keegan Oldani. Keegan is not with us this evening. He's still in Colorado finishing out his school year, but Keegan, despite being a native of Ann Arbor, Keegan has started his career teaching mathematics in Roaring Fork High School in Colorado, teaching a variety of mathematics courses, including advanced placement calculus this school year. Holding a bachelor's degree in mathematics education from University of Nebraska-Lincoln, Keegan is also in the process of completing his master's degree from the University of Colorado Boulder in teacher leadership. I believe he's expecting to do that yet this summer. An avid outdoorsman and runner, Keegan has coached cross country and been involved in a number of other extracurricular activities at his current high school. Keegan's former principal classified him as one of her best hires, hands down. And consistent with other references, spoke to his strong, positive relationships with students. The high school hiring team is excited about the potential of Keegan joining Northville High School. Keegan Oldani. Hillside Middle School counselor Christine Marszewski, I believe, is here, there in the back. Hey, Christine. With the retirement of one of our 3 Hillside Middle School counselors, the district was fortunate to have a terrific pool of candidates from which to choose, including Christine, who has been completing her counseling internship at Meads Mill Middle School. While her internship has resulted in rave reviews from Meads Mill administration, as well as Christy Bilby Bikias, with whom Christine has been completing her internship, the passion and desire to make an impact in the lives of young people was a significant theme that emerged from Christine's interview. Noting she felt being a school counselor was her calling. For background, Christine graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology from U of D Mercy, and then proceeded to spend the next 15 years of her career in the corporate world, where she was highly successful. Nonetheless, she noted in her interview that right around 2020, she found her interest and attention being directed to school counseling. As such, she enrolled in Capella University, where she is just completing her Master of Science in School Counseling here in the coming weeks. The Hillside interview team looks forward to Christine bringing the same passion and desire she has exhibited at Meads Mill during her internship to Hillside Middle School starting next August. Christine Marszewski. And then 4 elementary classroom teacher recommendations this evening in alphabetical order, starting with Maya Dickhut. Maya is currently traveling overseas and couldn't be with us this evening. Lucky her. But she just graduated from Michigan State University a week ago Saturday with a Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education. Maya completed her year-long student internship as a second grade classroom in Okemos schools. When I contacted Maya's cooperating teacher, she was effusive in her praise. I have to say, she was probably one of the most enthusiastic references I've ever spoken to, and that's saying quite a bit. I've talked to a lot of references over the years, but she was effusive in her praise of Maya, summing it all up by saying, "Maya is amazing," while speaking to the tremendous impression she made on students. She also spoke about her reflective nature and interest in regular feedback so as to improve her craft as a teacher. Maya Dickhut. Rebecca Frey, who is also an out-of-stater and not with us this evening, is in the process of completing her 3rd year of teaching in Loudoun County Schools in Virginia, where she has been teaching 4th grade. She holds a bachelor's in psychology and master's in elementary education from Christopher Newport University in Newport News, Virginia, where she played collegiate volleyball. Since graduating, Rebecca has not only been busy teaching 4th grade students, but she has also been coaching high school volleyball and assisting with volleyball summer camps, just to name a few activities. Her current principal called it a no-brainer to hire her, indicating she makes great student connections, is current with her practices, and a great team player, Rebecca Frey. Another collegiate athlete, Emma Merchant, who is with us this evening, played soccer while completing her bachelor's degree in elementary education at Aquinas College in Grand Rapids. Among the many things that impressed us about Emma's candidacy is her history in working with children. It's clear such a passion for working with children is in her DNA, be it her work at Birmingham Athletic Club as the kids camp director, Grand Rapids Child Discovery Center, or as I'm recalling, working with youth soccer. Now we're excited to see how Emma will grow as a classroom teacher here in Northville. Emma's student taught in a kindergarten classroom in Troy Public Schools, where her cooperating teacher was trying to recruit her, as well as a 5th grade classroom in Grand Rapids Public Schools. Not surprisingly, both her cooperating teachers spoke to her strong relationships with students. In addition, something I don't hear often in the reference process that both references mentioned, unsolicited, was Emma's quick and on-point instincts in reading students and in reading the classroom. Emma Merchant. And then last, but certainly not least, is Anna Sumapau. Anna introduced herself at the Michigan State Job Fair that Kelly Lindsay, Emily Aluya, and I attended back in March, and left a positive impression then and continued to do so throughout our interview process. And Anna is with us as well, seated next to Emma there to her right. Anna recently graduated from Michigan State University with a bachelor's degree in elementary education and learning disabilities. She had a diverse internship, spending half of it in a 1st grade classroom in Grand Ledge Public Schools, and the other half in an 8th grade resource room, getting that special ed experience in Hazlitt Public Schools. Her university supervisor called her a Swiss Army knife in so many words. I'm paraphrasing a bit there, but that was definitely the impression. Sharing that she will do great in either an elementary classroom or a special education position. And Anna's cooperating teachers echoed these same sentiments. Anna Sumampao. On behalf of the Central Office Administrative Team, I recommend that the Board of Education approve a probationary contract for the 26-27 school year for the following individuals. Keegan Oldani, Christine Marszewski, Maya Dickhut, Rebecca Frey, Emma Merchant, and Anna Sumampao. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, if you remember back, we had a motion probably presented by Trustee Frazier, supported by Vice President Stewart. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, wonderful. Welcome.
Yay, yay. And President Meyer, if I may make a comment. One, Mr. Sumner, you do such a wonderful job in introducing our new hires, and I know you get to know them well. There's one thing you left out that I want to, that was a quick look. It's not bad. It's a good thing. That I really want to put a point of emphasis on, because I'm very grateful to the Board of Education for supporting this. Elementary classroom teachers, with the retirements, resignations of 4 elementary teachers, and here's the important part, the really important part, as well as the elimination of grade level split classes for the 26-27 school year. As a person who's in the community, talks to many parents, and obviously our building leaders and teachers, one of the pain points that I've heard repeatedly was the fact that split classes or combo classes were putting stress or pressure on staff, on kids, and so on. And I know that in negotiation and so on, there are things that occur, sure, but this was a decision that our board supported to eliminate that, as well as with the addition of the HMH curriculum that's coming and the tasks that we ask our elementary teachers to do. This truly is a special night and something that we can attend to, and we have now attended to something that has been an unfortunate pain point for a number of years. So to the board, I'd like to say thank you. To the HR crew, thank you. And I can't wait to get over and shake the hands of the new folks. You're going to love it here. Thank you.
All right, that's exciting. Okay, that brings us to finance and operations, the master planning recommendation. Treasurer McIntyre.
Okay, I'd like to bring forth motion 107 that the board award a contract to Fielding International for K-12 facility master planning services totaling $160,000, funded by the Capital Improvement Fund.
Support. Oh, who did I hear? Oh, okay. Secretary Campbell Votel. Okay. We could turn it over to you, Mr. Kling, for a brief synopsis of what this entails.
Thank you, President Meyer. Yeah, so this is very exciting. Master planning is not something that a lot of schools do. I'll argue that with declining birth rates, I do think this is something schools will have to start doing. We're doing it out of a different necessity. We're trying to look into the future to see where we think Northville Public Schools needs to be. And so in order to do that, we're teaming up with Fielding International. But this has been a long, thoughtful process to get to this point. So we started with a committee. We've created a master planning committee, and the purpose of that committee was to pick the firm that you just voted on. We had 9 members in that committee. We had 6 firms submit proposals. We interviewed 3, and Fielding International was the winner. They're a local firm. They're out of Ferndale, Michigan. Well, they have a satellite office out of Ferndale, Michigan. The timeline that we're looking at is summer of 26, so pretty much starting immediately through December of 27 is the proposed timeline. Really starting out with an initial meeting with Colt. Obviously, Fielding International will come in, meet with Colt, and then they will go on and have other meetings with staff, students, and the community members in the effort to kind of create this long-term master plan for the district. And as you noted, it was no cost to the general fund. So this is getting paid for out of the internal service fund, or I mean, out of the building improvement fund. Another note, this is not a architecture firm. This is a master planning firm. A lot of architecture firms do both, but they are strictly going to be master planning for us. We have a separate firm that does our architecture work. So that's my quick synopsis.
All right, thank you. I didn't actually note that it was from the building fund, but I appreciate you raising that. You spoke about it before, but I appreciate you highlighting that. Unless you must have read my mind as I was thinking about it. So does anyone have any questions or comments before we vote?
I would just like to say that I was on the committee along with Trustee Stewart, and out of the 3 companies that we interviewed, they were all phenomenal. The one we chose was the mid of the price point, but we get a team of 4, and they seemed very enthusiastic and experienced, and I cannot wait for us to get started.
I think my comment was going to be, this is an essential investment. It's wonderful that it's coming from the Capital Improvement Fund, but if we didn't have the blessing of that fund, we would have to find the money somewhere, because it's so essential to skillful and purposeful and forward-thinking anticipation of what our district needs to move toward. And, you know, we have a lot of really busy and bright people. We've been the benefit of the guests at Cook and all of the excellence that's going on in this building, but also at the district level. There are people that are currently doing phenomenal work to make data-driven decisions every single day that keeps us on point. But we surely can't ask those phenomenal leaders in our district to now take us forward in multiple years and to direct a vision or a reality that we need to be moving toward simultaneously. So there's a lot of data and analysis going into this this visioning and this crafting, you know, a direction for us to move in that necessitates, I think, the consulting capacity of this group that we just hired. And I'm glad that we're doing that. If we don't make those kinds of investments, then we're treading water. And when you tread water in education, you're going backwards. So we have got to keep moving forward. So I'm really glad that my colleagues brought so much information to the whole board. We had a very nuanced discussion in COW, and they brought us forward with all of the evidence that was put in front of this master planning group, and the decisions that you supported in making this recommendation. And I'm very grateful for that. So thank you very much, colleagues.
I just wanted to make a note about the fact that over the last 2 years, the staff here has been working on the MyKIP goals. And then as a community, we just completed the strategic planning that we'll be voting on in the near future. And so, the MyKIP goals are really the base, the education goals. And then our strategic planning are the vision and the high level goals. And what the master planning is going to give us are really to make sure that our physical area, the classrooms, the buildings are going to align with the MyKIP educational goals, our vision, our forward-thinking vision for the district, and to make sure. So one of the things that we made sure to ask each of these companies that interviewed was, how is your work going to align with MyKIP and our strategic plan, and how can we make sure that all of these are moving in the same direction for the future of our district? So I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be interesting for the next, at least year through this process. So.
Well, great. Okay, well then we have a motion properly presented by Treasurer McIntyre, supported by Secretary Campbell Voitel. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so then that brings us to the 2026-27 Wayne RESA budget.
Okay, I'd like to bring forth motion 108 that the board adopt the resolution in support of the 26-27 Wayne RESA budget as presented.
Support.
Okay. So I have a motion properly presented by Treasurer McIntyre and supported by Trustee Frazier. I'm going to kick it back to you, Mr. Kling, if you could talk briefly about the Wayne RESA budget.
Absolutely.
So this is something we have to do every year. All districts in the county have to vote on this. So the funny thing is even if we were to vote no on this, it's all dependent on the county vote. But the overall, the Wayne RESA, just like us, they're a governmental entity, and so they have multiple funds. They do fund accounting, and the overall theme is kind of a planned use of fund balance in all of their funds. So if you're looking at their general fund, they have a deficit. Enhancement millage, that's in and out, so no deficit there. Act 18 fund, deficit, and cooperative education fund, also deficit. So they have fund balances just like we do in each of those funds, and they are spending them down. And so I think that's intentional by them. And I think also how that affects us is we're going to start kind of looking at those one-time funding opportunities that we get through Wayne RESA and really looking at them through a shorter window, that they might not be there in the future. So we just have to plan accordingly. Sometimes they give us a heads up, hey, next year it's going to be cut in half. The following year it'll be gone. Other times we're going to wait and see how that fund is going to actually look over the next couple of years. But either way, I meet with a group of Wayne County business officials, and we're always kind of talking about how that affects our general fund and our Act 18 fund. So that's my summary.
Thank you.
Comments or questions?
I don't think so.
I just want to quickly highlight that it's May, and we're having to vote on the 2026-27 Wayne RESA budget, which, as you stated, would take all of the school districts within Wayne County need to vote on that to, have some sort of impact one way or another. But we all are in it together, of course. And then at the end of June, we will be voting on our budget here for the district, right? So we're coming up at the end of our fiscal year, but the state doesn't necessarily have their budget. So they're going ahead and making this budget. We're making our budget, not knowing what the budget from the place that we get the majority of our money from, what their budget is going to be as we move on.
That is correct. So, it's funny. I can't wait to bring this up to S&P tomorrow because they are going to ask us about our budget. And I'm sure they know about how messed up our budgeting process is here in the state of Michigan, but that is correct. So next month, I'll be bringing to you the final amended budget for this year and the preliminary budget for next year. We probably won't, hope I'm wrong, have a budget until October. So we will amend it in the winter when we get updated numbers. So
I would say this is probably one of the rare times that we hope you're wrong.
yeah. I hope. Well,
I just want to commend, the finance office at Wayne RESA, as well as you, and just the work that you do, given so many unknowns as they end the end of their fiscal year, which obviously we're tied to, and we end ours. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Thank you.
So we have a motion properly presented by Treasurer McIntyre, supported by, I think it was Trustee Frazier. All right, all in favor? Oh, no, we don't. This is a roll call vote. So yes, Secretary Campbell Vitel, I'll turn that over to you.
Thank you. All right, I'll call the roll. Mabry.
Yes.
Reagan Mauer.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
And Campbell Vitel is a yes.
Okay, thank you. And that will turn us back over again to a Treasurer McIntyre.
Okay, I'd like to bring forth motion 109 that the board approve the Phase 3 Meads Mill furniture purchase totaling $153,710.62, funded by bond 2023.
Support.
Okay, so we have a motion properly presented by Treasurer McIntyre, supported by Vice President Stewart. Are you going to speak to us about the Meads Mill furniture purchase?
Absolutely. Oh, Steve's here too. Yes. So proposal. Well, I guess Steve, do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to talk about it? Okay. You have the pack. It's in the packet. All the backup information's in there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you for getting that to us.
Appreciate the opportunity tonight to talk about the next phase of report your purchase at Beats. Sorry, technology is not my thing, I guess. So again, this is kind of out of our normal sequence. We usually like to bring it to Cal, then bring it to the full board. Again, it's just, I've got a lot of people, a lot of moving parts, and just trying to get all the recommendations into you so we can have some time to make sure the materials are ordered and ready for the start of the school year here. So the majority of this purchase here is new cafeteria tables at Meads Mill. There's some other auxiliary pieces. I think it was in the packet. There was drawings, there was the quotes, there was a lot of information. I'm sure all 80 pages were digested. But I didn't know if the board had any questions regarding the recommendation.
Questions? No, it doesn't seem so.
I appreciate you bringing it to us so that we can
Mhm.
get it, delivered before school year starts.
Yes.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the goal. As much as we can, right? There's always delays, but if we wait till August, then
Right.
no chance. So yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. It is exciting to kind of see this continuing process. I'm excited to see what, it looks like when we get it in there and all the changes that have been made to Meads. We've been talking about this for a long time. So now that we're at the furniture purchase time, it's, feels like we're getting near the end, whether we are or not.
There's still a lot to go. So actually the bond update is next. So if you're
Okay, that goes right into the other one. So let's vote on this real quick and then we'll go into the bond update. So I have a motion probably presented by Treasurer McIntyre and it was supported by, who supported that? So Vice President Stewart, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that brings us to our bond update.
thank you again for the opportunity to present a kind of a update where we are. I think last time I was here was in October. I think talking with Devin and RJ, try to do this twice a year, kind of as we get into the summer, and then as we, the dust settles after the summer, just to give you folks an update and see where we're going. First, I want to give some recognition to our bond consultants, AUK, TMP, Foresight, Spalding, Wright and Hunter, Peter Basso, and McCole. I mean, out of those firms, we probably have 20 different designers, engineers, architects, people working on our project. So there's a lot of, not just the trades on the site, but the technical professionals helping us through this process. So want to say thank you to them. Again, just to recap, I'm not going to read all these. This is everything we did 24 and 25 for the bond, and some of this was actually also sinking fund. Just going through real quick, Ammerman finished up the NPR renovations, the courtyard, that sort of stuff. So there's some photos in there. We had our board meeting there a couple of months ago. What we have left to do this year in 26 is we're actually repaving the parking lot. So that was, I was digging through some old photos of the courtyard. I wish I had some when Marco Miranda was still there. So, but I couldn't find any of the really old ones. But compared to that, the pergola was installed, all the final furniture was delivered. It's definitely a transformation of that space. Photos of the new media center and the kind of collaboration space outside. Going to Meads Mill, just a recap of the work that was done. We actually occupied the STEAM edition this spring. We're currently serving lunch out of a temporary serving line and cafeteria layout in the gym, which I know the staff there, it's a test of patience, right? It's, no one loves construction, especially when they have to live through it for a couple of years. So looking ahead, we've got exterior canopy completion, mechanical renovation, summer 2026. And then the big push is the cafeteria, kitchen, locker room renovations for August of this year. Just a little bit more about the phasing, the area in green. That whole area is under construction. The current kitchen, what was the stage, the cafeteria, that's all. You won't recognize it if you walked in there today. Please don't walk in there today. The locker room renovations happens this summer. The area in orange is where the children are actually having lunch, and we set up a temporary food service line in the adjacent spaces below, which the temporary service line, if you ask the kitchen staff and some of the people there, actually nicer than their old kitchen.
I can affirm that, Mr. Banchero. And the great thing about this presentation is it builds upon what we talked about with the master plan a bit. But so Mary Beth, our head cook, emailed me really early in the morning last week and said, hey, we're doing a conga line out for 6th grade lunch. You want to come join us? So I did. I was in the back, though, so I could learn how to do it. And I went into the temporary kitchen prep area, and that temporary area was significantly better than what these folks had been working out of for years. And I really can't wait to see the completed version of that. And I had the occasion to visit the STEAM area. It's stunning. I mean, really, Steve and Devin and your whole team, really, really well done. And honoring, Megan and I were actually talking about this and how we approach our bonds. Like what we say we're going to do, we do. And I think that engenders faith and trust. A couple of recent bond elections have went down in the area. And if I'm going to do my research to find out why, promises were made that weren't kept in those communities regarding the bond. And a community doesn't forget that, nor should they. So I want to look you in the eyes and say thank you for making sure that we do what we say we're going to do and do it well. Exceptional work. But to your point, the temporary spot, I mean, I would kind of miss the burnt orange and the avocado cabinetry, but other than that, it was much nicer. Thank you.
Right. My old employer had a phrase, plan the work the plan. And that's what we're trying to do here.
Right on.
This one I had to take a picture of because I say that to myself a lot because it seems like it's always under construction. But there's a photo of the commons area that used to be the locker jungle, if you remember that, over at Meads. Here's a couple photos of the STEAM area and the transition hallway. Again, encourage you, if you've not seen it, please go over there and take a look. Again, a couple of photos of the addition over there at Meads. This is their temporary kitchen, the temporary seating arrangement for lunch. Again, we appreciate all the staff is kind of putting up with as we do this. Last year, we're wrapping up some mechanical work at the high school. We're just working on final commissioning and air balance. Now we're getting into our phase 2 projects. STEAM Edition is underway at the high school. Again, appreciate the patience from the staff there because we did have to take some parking spots as we start this edition. Again, just a recap of the scope of work at the high school, the STEAM Edition, we're doing art room renovations, classroom carpet and paint, office carpet, auditorium seats, flooring finishes, AV, natatorium renovations, gym bleachers, and robotics. This is a 2-year project. Work in progress right now is the STEAM Edition and the natatorium. Looking ahead for 2026, we're going to work on the 2nd floor, the media production area, the auditorium upgrades, gym bleachers, natatorium completion, and the STEAM Edition. So that's a rendering of kind of the common space for the STEAM Edition. Here's a graphical representation of what I just said as far as phasing. You can see what's 26 and what's in 27. So the 1st floor classrooms and finishes, that's in 27. The other spaces around it we're tackling this year, except for the office. We did have that in 26, but we're going to bump that to 27. 2nd floor, again, all these finishes, flooring, and paint on the 2nd floor. So there's a lot of work to do this summer. So Northville High School is going to be a busy place. Here's the STEAM Edition as it preps what we call the building pad, just the as you build up the grades to accept the new building. They're actually starting foundations this week. We had to relocate a water line. We shut the water off at the building over the weekend and relocated the water line from underneath the addition. Here's the natatorium in its current state. So we scaffold the whole pool. We drain the pool. We scaffold the pool so all the trades can work on the overhead work, new duct work, new mechanical systems, new everything. So one of the features when we go into the new pool, it won't have a traditional lay-in ceiling like this space does. all pool designs you see nowadays don't really have that feature. There's going to be some clouds. There's going to be some other acoustical treatments, but we're getting rid of that ceiling above the pool. So it's going to be exposed construction, painted. We are putting an acoustical spray up to help with the noise in that space. Moving on to Moraine, here's the addition rendering of that space. Again, phase 2 project, scope work at Moraine, steam addition, NPR kitchen remodel, entry canopy, minor interior upgrades, boiler replacement, the whole boiler plant, pumps, some partial HVAC equipment that we didn't do last time we were there, electrical switch gear, some paving. That project's going to start in June, and then it's really going to go from June throughout the school year. The summer areas, the miscellaneous renovations. The challenge with this one is we're going to work in that kitchen, that cafeteria, kind of like Meads. We have to think about a different way to serve the children. So there's going to be a temporary food prep area in the West Central, Northwest Central. I always get them confused. And they're actually going to be eating classrooms as we renovate this school. So again, lots of challenges, but there's only so many weeks in the summer, and this is pretty substantial construction. Now we're getting to phase 3. So our next set of projects is Silver Springs and Winchester. We've had 5 or 6 design meetings. The design should be complete this fall and anticipate construction starting 2027. Steam and Winchester have, or Silver Springs and Winchester have similar scope of work, steam addition, enter canopy, miscellaneous upgrades. The biggest scope really in these 2 buildings is the legacy HVAC equipment that serves the majority of the building. That is going to get replaced when we do that work at both buildings.
Yeah, legacy. That's a nice way to say that, Steve.
A nice polite way of
yes.
saying old.
Old, very old. Almost as old as me. So we went back and forth on locations for the additions at Silver Springs. One was, I think, in that kind of wedge, if you look at Silver Springs from the top, back more on the northwest. Here, it takes a long time. It takes 9-10 months to get. So we actually ordered it early 25. We did a bid package for the switchgear at these 2 buildings, you might remember. We were going to do it this summer, but the contractor had an opportunity and we pulled it ahead and got it done over spring break. This is actually the same part of the building at Winchester. It's a different elevation when it comes to this space. The adjacencies that you see next to the gym and how we're getting to that steam area is actually the same from Silver Spring to Winchester. We didn't dictate that. That's just kind of after all the design meetings with the principals, with the key staff members. That's they actually landed on the same location. Similar construction, similar elevations. This is just going to be, you're not going to really see it because it's actually in the behind the back of the building. Here's a rendering of what it could look like inside. And again, here's that same canopy structure that we're looking at the entrance of Winchester. Some other projects, 2026, we're doing roofing at Meads, roofing at Moraine, Silver Springs, the high school valley coating. We're not quite there yet. We're still looking at scope of work for that one. And then we're doing district-wide repairs this summer too. Technology, I don't want to forget my friend Andrew. Again, what we have done, 23, 24, 25, 26, he's heavy into the fiber infrastructure project, phone systems he's been working on, which is, I think, complete at this point. He's got some network switches, the technology for the renovations, and doing some rewiring at Winchester and Silver Springs. And then you can see what's planned ahead for 27, 28. Phase 4, Thornton Creek and Ridgewood, we'll be starting those designs actually later this year. After we get the designs for Winchester and Silver Springs complete. I know this is hard to read. I think it was in the slide presentation. That orange bar kind of indicates where we're at as far as the overall cadence, overall bond schedule. I think we're pretty much on track, plus or minus. We always have those challenges. But again, this is what we set out in 2023 when the bond passed, and this is our roadmap to get to the end. I know it's a late night. I know that was a lot of information. I tried to go quickly because
No, it's great.
to appreciate
Really great.
everyone's time.
Steve, I did want to just say something about the bond. I went to Northville High School softball game last week. My daughter was Batgirl, and I was with another parent, elementary parent. She's like, "Where do you get all the money? Look at this field. It's beautiful." And I was like, "From you. Thank you for voting yes for the bond." And also at that game, Dr. Weber asked me / begged me to mention that each time he showed up at either the baseball game or the softball game, there was a home run hit for our advantage in that.
True story.
Yeah,
I
so-
walk right into the dugout of the baseball game. Kid hits a dinger, rope right over. Go over to the softball game. Young lady, I think I sent a picture of the board of it last week. She's dancing on third base because she just raked all 3 bases and sent 3 girls in a triple. And I said to both coaches, I'm not a credit taker, I'm a credit maker, but I'm just going to say, I walked into the dugout, the magic happened. So hopefully,
He begged me to bring this up.
I didn't, but
You
the
should go
softball
to a
fields,
Tigers game.
what those coaches say about this in Meredith, I know you played softball. I know your daughter plays. I don't know if anyone else played softball. I know some of you have baseball sons, but people don't also understand that after every game and practice, before those fields were put in, the coaches and kids would stay an additional hour after to rake to maintain the fields. And in Michigan, we've not had the greatest spring. It's been wet, it's been cold, but when it's wet, we can actually play or practice on those fields. And we're super grateful for that. I'm curious of what the board thought of some of the pictures of the renderings that Steve showed us, though.
I wondered if AI knows we have cold, cloudy weather here in Michigan. There's always gorgeous sunny days, but that's probably what it feels about all these wonderful things that are coming our way. So
I think it's
Yeah.
pretty cool to see the facade of Silver Springs and Winchester also looks a lot like Ammerman, which looks a lot like
Oh, yeah,
Hillside.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
pretty excited to see how all of
there's
that.
some continuity
Yeah, there's
across
some
it.
continuity across
Yeah.
the school. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that.
Well, as the liaison to Ammerman, I spent a lot of time there. I have to say, bricks and mortar. It's like bricks and mortar, and people can really have not, just look at it as, as hardscape. However, those kinds of changes in a building change everything. The vibe in the building, the way people interact, the excitement, no matter what the weather, really, whether we're getting a snow day or it's raining but it just changes the human interaction and the ability to, imagine and to think creatively. It's really a powerful thing to change bricks and mortar. And so, I never want to let that go without being said that it's really transformational. And thank you very much for seeing it through. And yes, we do what we say we're going to do, don't we? And thank you for that. Appreciate it.
I think about when we had our board meeting at Ammerman in the multipurpose room and how quiet it was. And it was, all of the sound insulation, and they looked gorgeous too. Like all the floating pieces in the ceiling looked amazing, but it had such an impact in that space. And I know how loud elementary cafeterias can be when you have all those kids in there. And so I can only imagine how much of a difference that makes in their space. And then when we went into what is now the media center, that usually every other time we had a board meeting there, it was like a rattle and hum of all of the legacy ductwork, and it just how that makes such a powerful impact on the students, because when you've got like this constant, noise in your head all day, like that has an impact on your learning capability. And so, looking at all of these updates to our legacy buildings, I think while they look amazing, and I love the renderings, I love all the windows that match and that cohesion. I do think, all these updates make a huge impact for our students too, and the teachers and the staff and, the custodians that have to work there all day too. So.
Yeah, really well said, Melissa. And I think, Meredith, you remember going to Moraine in that serving area. And I saw your jaw hit the ground when you saw it. Like, really, this is what. And so, Melissa, I think importantly, it's the experience for our kids, but we know our kids can't have a good experience if the adults in that space don't have a good experience. So I love the symbiotic nature of that. Thank you for lifting that up.
I want to circle back too to the pool, right? So I was one of the people on the bond study committee, and I remember, we had the conversation, we were building with these like blocks that were color coded based on like whatever the function was for, was it the pool? Was it the softball fields? Was it the baseball fields? Was it, these STEAM spaces? And I remember we were given a challenge that we had to remove blocks that would equal like, I think it was like $250,000 or something like that. And we all like had this like, I don't know, made us sick to our stomachs to like have to remove the pool renovation. And then when we were able to like add that back in, I think the community really agreed to say, yeah, we want to do that, right? People advocated for that. They were not begging, but to the point to say like, we want to compete and we want to have a useful space with technology that works for timing, and the pool itself is falling apart, right? So it's really cool to see that the community did come together and said, yeah, we want to invest in this infrastructure too. So it's cool to see the scaffolding, and I would love to walk through. I know it's a construction site, so we can't just walk through, but
yes, please don't walk through.
yeah. But I'm really pleased to see just that investment and how it's just going to be. It is the investment that the community wants, right? And so I'm glad to see it coming together in that way.
Right, and that is a very kind of typical process because we all have a lot of wants, and we have to narrow those wants down to something the community could support. So. Athletics was not a focus point when we started studying the 2023 bond. I got to give a lot of credit to Mr. Koski and Brian Samalski to advocate for their building and their programs, and working with our consultants, their financial folks. Mike's off at the time. We pressed the numbers and we were able to fit it in.
I think it's great.
I just want to take this time and salute Steve and thank him and just let him know how much I appreciate working with him. I know this was a quick presentation, but this is a year of meetings and work and meetings and work and more meetings. So thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Now we can go home.
Yeah. Just like the Cook presentation is just a glimpse of all the things that you do, and we really appreciate it. A lot of exciting things happening. All right, so that brings us, do we have any added agenda items? Okay, second opportunity for public comment. Okay, well, if that's it, then I call the meeting at 8:48.
Clap for that.